I would really like it if you could share this video to as many biologists, geologists, scientists that have anything to do with this, and ask them if this theory makes any sense. When I was a kid in science class, I was taught about the water cycle and the carbon cycle. And the water cycle was basically, it rains onto the ground, sun heats up the ground and the oceans, water evaporates, goes back into the sky, and then it condenses and falls down like rain. So it's a cycle. Kind of goes up and goes down. Great. But then the carbon cycle was different. We were taught that animals breathe in oxygen, exhale carbon dioxide. Plants take in carbon dioxide, use water from the ground and sunlight to grow. So animals are using the oxygen just to survive. Plants have to grow, so they continually have to grow. And basically, plants build up more and more plant biomass on the earth. They have to keep doing that in order to have oxygen so that animals can live. So I thought, this isn't a cycle. This is more like a process. This is kind of weird. And then I also learned that fossil fuels is the accumulation of this plant biomass over millennia. Actually, I don't know, probably more than, not millennia. Millennia is 1,000 years. It's like millions of years. And it basically, that plant biomass builds up, and it, I don't know what the process that it does, but it becomes fossil fuels. And only at the Industrial Revolution did we start burning those fossil fuels. So as a kid, I thought, hey, this is kind of weird. This is new, right? This has never happened before, but so are we going to run out of oxygen? Because if plants have to keep growing and now all of a sudden we're putting that carbon dioxide back into the atmosphere, like what's going to happen? So I was kind of thought about this, and then every once in a while you'd hear people talking about climate change and global warming, and I kind of took these guys seriously. And I did things like bought the car with the best gas mileage you can get, so it has the lowest, I don't even think they called it carbon footprint back then, but so it just used the least gas and created the least carbon dioxide. And then Al Gore came up with this his film, The Inconvenient Truth, and I thought, and I watched and went, yeah, that totally makes sense. This is exactly what I thought, and it is causing a problem. Oh man, that's terrible. Like, oh man, this is really good he made this film. This is great. And that's what I thought. For, I don't know how long it's been since he did that film, 15 years. But I've since learned a few things. This is not really this true story, because what the real deal is that when the Earth first came into being, I think, 4 billion years ago, there was no oxygen. There was carbon dioxide and a bunch of other things like nitrogen and things like that in the atmosphere, but there's no oxygen. So plants evolved when there was like 70% carbon dioxide in our atmosphere. It is now 0.04%. So plants evolved when there was tons of carbon dioxide, and they grew like crazy. And it's when it was growing like crazy, that's when a lot of the fossil fuels, that's where the plant matter came from that created all the fossil fuels. So plants had all this carbon dioxide. So it went from 70% down to 0.028%. Actually, that's what it was before the Industrial Revolution. So, and if you look at fossil records show that plant evolution and just basically evolution in general, they figure happened about, I think, 500 million years ago. That's a long time ago. And at that time, carbon dioxide was 20 times what it is now. So this is what I don't know. I've never heard this theory, but this is what I want. I would really like it if you could share this video to as many biologists, geologists, scientists that have anything to do with this, and and ask them if this theory makes any sense. This is what I think. I think that there was lots of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Plants grew like crazy, and they basically, and it's a good thing that animals evolved to use the oxygen that the plants were creating, because if they didn't, to create carbon dioxide again, those plants would have all died. Because the only source of carbon dioxide now, well, before the Industrial Revolution, the only source for carbon dioxide was animals and bacteria and other biological things. There wasn't any more carbon dioxide from the original, from the planet. Basically, all that carbon dioxide, 70% of the atmosphere, down to 0.04% now. It actually went down to 0.08%. So I think that us burning fossil fuels is increasing the level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. And all that's really going to do, the main thing that's doing to the planet, is increasing life. I believe that this is simply increasing the ability for plants to grow. So I just want to go with this again. So there's lots of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Plants started evolving and growing like crazy, and they just use it up. Carbon dioxide went down, down, down to nothing. Basically nothing. There was no more carbon dioxide left except for the carbon dioxide being created by other life on Earth. I think that that's the true deal of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere and in our world. And I'm just wondering if we can get a debate on this here, and let me know what you think. I think that that's the deal, because there is lots of evidence that shows that plants are growing faster now than ever before. Well, than they have since recorded history. And I just wanted to know what you think, and if anyone has any great scientists that they can comment on this. Thanks.